joining me today to discuss with you publishing offers through Partner Center for co-selling. And let me know when you guys can just confirm you can see the screen when it moves along. What we want to make sure that we land with you guys today are these objectives, which is to understand the audiences reached when you publish things through the commercial marketplace and how that impacts co-sell, utilizing some best practices when publishing offers, and then also how to access resources and help for publishing offers, because we know that this isn't the only time that you will be interested in this, and so we want to make sure you know where to go for help along the way and where you can self-educate as well. So to start out on a super high level, there are three essentially ways with which you can reach customers with Microsoft's help. We have through our selling community, and those sellers can be enterprise sellers, they can be customers, corporate sellers, they can be demand response sellers. So different types of customers come through different types of selling agencies. Then we also have our reseller channel. So we have working with other partners and indirect providers. And then we also have directly from customers through the web and in-product experiences. So there's sort of three buckets. And we want to tie together with you how your offers sort of connect to those audiences. So what I want to bring to your attention today is in Partner Center, as we're making the migration, there are some key benefits of doing this with Center that we want to make sure that you understand versus the old experience, which from a publishing perspective could have been CPP, the Cloud Publishing Portal, or it could have been also with OCP GTM from the partner side of the house. So on a basic level, what's really great about Partner Center is that whoever is banging around, could you please try to mute yourself? Sorry. Sorry, back to what I was saying. So partners can receive all of your referrals, meaning from a direct storefront, from a different type of seller, or from other marketing campaigns that you may in fact be part of with Microsoft. You can receive them into one location within Partner Center, into the inbox experience. You also have the ability to integrate a modern API connection. And what that means is that instead of going into the UX of Partner Center, we have a modern API that can connect your CRM system to Partner Center so that lead sharing experience and lead management experience can be automatic in your environment and go directly back from a data perspective to Partner Center so that we know what's happening too. You have faster and direct connection with Microsoft sellers. So one of the great improvements that we've been able to make is that rather than just saying you need help from Microsoft when you're sharing a lead with us or a referral, you can say I need this type of help. So that helps us route things to sellers quicker and hopefully get a response, and then obviously driving towards great win opportunities. We also have the integration with the commercial marketplace. So this is something that Brian will talk a little bit more about and we'll guide you through towards the end. But rather than having this multiple publishing experience and a multiple listing experience, we want to bring those things together so that you can do less work and have sort of a database of offers that we can syndicate out to different audiences. That is definitely something we're in motion on, but we want to talk through that a little bit. Then we also have better customer matching. So what that means from a co-selling perspective is that rather than entering the free-form field that you may have done in the past, we actually match on the DUNS number. So when you enter, let's say, something that is for a customer like a Starbucks, there might be a ton of different Starbucks options. And so we want to be able to drill right into which customer segment, which part of that customer you're really working with, again, to help with that direct alignment, as well as to continue to drive down that opportunity and hopefully close it into a win. Any questions? I know that was a ton. And then I see there's a little bit of a chat going on the side that there might be a question. I'm happy to answer it.
I was just asking if we'd get a copy of this presentation. These slides look a little bit newer than some of the ones I have, and I'd love to advocate internally using the same messaging.
Yes, we will definitely share this slide deck out with you afterwards. So just to go over sort of, again, a basic element here, just to becoming those solutions co-sell ready. So the requirements, I'm not going to drain the slide, but I want to just level set that there are requirements, prerequisites in order to attain co-sell ready status for your solutions. And then where we start to talk about, yes?
Real quick, there's another question in the chat that I think is kind of applicable right now, which is the question as to whether or not this will replace Partner Sales Connect.
So Partner Center will replace Partner Sales Connect from a tooling perspective. And so the way that I think about it is that you will continue to manage your co-selling business as you have before from Partner Sales Connect, but we're moving that experience into Partner Center with improvements. There is a slide that we can share. Sorry, I don't know who asked the question. That bridges the how do I do something in Partner Sales Connect and then how do I do it in Partner Center. So we do have that mapped out for you a little bit, but the short answer that I didn't give yet is yes, it will replace Partner Sales Connect. Does that answer your question? Perfect. These are additional requirements for IP co-sell. And one thing you'll see on here is Microsoft Marketplace, you need to have a listing and AppSource and Azure Marketplace in order to become co-sell ready as one of the requirements. And so that is a customer-facing offer publication and something that we are going to go into deeper now a little bit with Brian. Brian, do you want to take it away?
Absolutely. Thank you, Kate.
Yeah.
And it's really a pleasure to be here with all of you. As we heard from Kate, we're really kind of bringing together over time and into the future the co-sell and commercial marketplace experience. And my role within the commercial marketplace team as a program manager is on release and delivery. So I'm really excited to share a little bit about what is this commercial marketplace, how do we think about it, what are the audiences that you can fully reach, and then just a little bit of that vision as we look to the future. And we did hear from Monica in the answer to her question that over time, these processes, these experiences really will come together. And so I want to share a little bit about the commercial marketplace. And so when we think about Microsoft's commercial marketplace, and just to kind of ground us all in the same language here, we have partners, Microsoft partners, all of you, who create offerings within our marketplace into our catalog. And when you publish an offering, we think of you as a publisher. You're creating offerings, you're publishing them. And then, of course, on any marketplace, any selling of products, there are buyers, and those are the customers. And so when we look at this slide, there's a lot of information going on here, but from left to right, really the commercial marketplace is a system and platform that allows Microsoft partners to create offerings, whether they're software as a service, platform, infrastructure, services, add-ins, all types of products that are built on and built for and delivered to enhance Microsoft's cloud. Those go into our commerce platform where we have a unified commerce engine used for both Microsoft first-party products, Azure, Office 365, Microsoft 365, Dynamics 365, as well as your products, those that you want to sell through Microsoft and to Microsoft, our joint customers. That commerce engine, that commerce platform has a unified catalog where your products, your plans, your SKUs, your offers sit side by side with Microsoft's, a single set of transacting rules, deployment, billing, and merchandising rules, and then they can be made available to our shared customers through a number of different channels. Available today and fully live are the two web stores, Azure Marketplace for IT and developer audiences. This is also built into the Azure portal where a customer would go to manage their Azure subscription, create and configure resources. Right within that exact same experience, they can deploy and purchase offerings out of the commercial marketplace. Microsoft AppSource is the store for business and industry solutions, whether it's line of business or something specific to an industry, finance, healthcare, government. Microsoft AppSource is also built in to Teams, Dynamics 365, all of the Office applications. So when I open up PowerPoint or Word, if I go up to the top, there's the insert section of the file menu. And if I click Get Add-ins, that's now actually showing me a contextual view of AppSource, meaning that I'm only seeing those that are compatible with the application that I'm in. And so really these web stores where we have millions of users per month viewing, and those in-product experiences are really a unique capability that Microsoft is able to offer to help reach customers. And that's what we think of as really kind of that direct to customer sales motion. There isn't necessarily a hand holding. Customers can discover and navigate on their own. We then also have our CoSell process that we know and love. And as we've kind of discussed, that's coming together more and more over the coming months and even years so that commercial marketplace and CoSell become ultimately one and the same. And the catalog of offerings that are available in our marketplace are also available through Microsoft's sellers, our sales organization, into their tools. And even to Microsoft's network of resellers. Our cloud solution provider program has the ability to resell transactable or paid offerings from our commercial marketplace if you configure your offerings to be available there. I want to pause here for just a moment, see if there's any questions. I don't see any in IM, but before I go to kind of the next click down and start talking about what you might think about when you create offerings in the commercial marketplace and the different offering types, I want to make sure that this kind of foundational information makes sense around what is the commercial marketplace. I don't see any questions in IM, so I'm going to keep moving, but please, of course, interrupt, ask questions, ask me anything. So when we start to think about how we are creating these offerings in the commercial marketplace, let's first talk about kind of the strategic, what type of information is relevant. We can talk a little bit more about going into Partner Center and tactically creating your offerings, but something that we've found is quite relevant and important to think about ahead of time is how do you want to sell your offering? Do you have a go-to-market strategy? How have you monetized your product? Do you charge a flat rate on a monthly basis or an annual basis? Or do you charge based on the customer's usage of certain features and functionality? How do you want to message and brand your product? Because in Partner Center, when you're creating the offerings for our commercial marketplace, there are text boxes where you can enter in the name of your product, a description of the product, but it's really important to have either content created already or involvement from your marketing team or your product management team. These are all things where there's deep integration and collaboration across your organization to make sure that the way your product is viewed, represented, described in our commercial marketplace aligns with your strategy to reach the correct audiences. And that's the last point that's really important is, are you industry specific? Is it a very broad solution or niche? And do you need to speak to exactly who you're targeting? And then within the publishing experience, there's a number of categories that you select to describe your offering. There's a number of industries that you can select to help highlight for whom it's relevant. And so all of this information is important to have at least strategized ahead of the publishing process as you jump in. Now, once we have our go-to-market strategy, we have our branding and our messaging, we know how our product should be represented, and we have all of this ready to go, or are working with our product management or marketing teams, there are a number of different offer types that are supported within the commercial marketplace. From left to right, from simple through the kind of the optimal customer experience, the fastest, easiest, simplest, and really the least effective is a listing. This is basically an ad where it's a description of your product. It talks to the customer about all the awesome things your product can do, the problems it solves, etc. And the call to action for the customer is contact me. So when a customer finds your solution, they fall in love with it, the button that they would click would be contact me, and it generates a lead from the customer to you so that the sorry, I forgot to take off the auto transition. So that the customer basically notifies you that they're interested in learning more. A trial is actually very similar, except that rather than contact me, the call to action for the customer is to initiate a trial. This effectively takes them to a website that you've defined and initiates a trial, which is a much more highly qualified lead. The customer at that point has experience with your product. Hopefully, they've fallen in love with the experience that they've had in and using your product. Bring your own license is a very interesting offer type that makes it really easy to transition from on-premises into the cloud. Or if you already have robust e-commerce capabilities built or purchased already. And the scenario here is maybe I'm a customer and I'm running my data centers. I have on-premises technology. I have a whole bunch of firewalls deployed, and I want to move to the cloud. I want to move to Azure, but I have a lot of investment in my on-premises software and infrastructure. With a bring your own license offer type, it makes it possible for the customer to deploy your software in the cloud and then bring that same license, maintain their investment, carry that forward. You still have the relationship with the customer. They're still using their product or your product, but they can move into the cloud, make that transition seamlessly, not necessarily have to go purchase new software. It doesn't introduce the opportunity for a competitive situation. But over time, they'll want to upgrade. You'll want them to upgrade. And BYOL offer types make that really simple and seamless to make that transition from on-premises to cloud, where then you can continue to expand and upgrade the relationship. The other scenario where BYOL is relevant is if you have robust commerce capabilities built already. Now, the transact offer type is the optimal customer experience. This really allows a customer to go to our commercial marketplace, whether on the web, in product, or through a reseller, and find, try, buy, and deploy or provision your product all the way through. There's a number of benefits that really start to get very, very cool with transactable offer types through Microsoft's commercial marketplace. The first is that the customer is actually purchasing it on Microsoft paper. The purchase contract is with Microsoft. The billing relationship is with Microsoft. These customers already have procurement relationships with Microsoft, and you can leverage the robust commerce capabilities that Microsoft has built both for ourselves. The commerce capabilities that are available in our commercial marketplace are the exact same ones that we use for our own products. And it allows you to, rather than go build or buy commerce capabilities for your sales, you can leverage those that Microsoft has built and continues to innovate on as our products and as your products evolve and the industry changes. The customer is buying it on Microsoft paper. In fact, buying an offer from Microsoft's commercial marketplace out of Azure Marketplace, for example, becomes a line item on their Azure bill. It's a consistent, consolidated billing experience. The payment method follows what they've used for their Azure subscription in that example. And so the transactable offer types really make this a seamless experience for the customer and can reduce tremendous amounts of friction in the sales process that often kind of catches up partners that we speak to when they're selling to customers. One thing that I do want to kind of really emphasize is that although the billing relationship and the purchase contract is with Microsoft, our commercial marketplace operates on an agency model, which means that you as the publisher, the partner who owns the product and is providing the product, you define the price and you define the terms of use. In fact, the terms and conditions is an agreement between the customer and you, and the price is defined by you. Microsoft will not change the price. There is a transaction fee, and we can speak to that a little bit. But in terms of the relationship between you as the software provider or services provider and the customer, Microsoft is accountable for billing and collections. The customer signs an agreement with you for the terms of use of your product, and you define the price. I want to take a minute to pause. I do see a couple of questions. Request for quotes and need help quoting customers. So this is a good question. And this is a scenario that I think of a little bit of and I'll kind of broaden beyond just request for quote, but also maybe a proof of concept or variable pricing, custom negotiations. There are a couple of capabilities that make this possible with our commercial marketplace. For example, it's possible to publish a private plan, meaning you have an offering that's maybe universal or available to the public, but then maybe you want to offer a discount because it's a marquee customer. Maybe they're buying such a large volume that you've negotiated unique pricing. For whatever reason, you have the ability to publish a plan that goes specifically to that one customer as defined by their tenant ID. And you can have unique pricing on that for just that customer. Or a private plan that has multiple customers on it. Maybe it's your standard discount that you offer, but the customer has to negotiate or meet a certain criteria. And it's also possible to publish contract amendments that are either broadly available or specific to a customer. So again, like having custom pricing, you can have unique terms that you've negotiated with a large customer because they're a marquee customer and you want their brand using your product or the volume or for really whatever reason. In terms of requesting a quote, that's where the negotiation would generally happen outside of Microsoft's commercial marketplace. I can say that we are thinking about scenarios to make this simpler. You know, maybe a scenario where there's a publicly available transactable offer, but then also the ability for a customer to contact you and negotiate. It's always possible to include contact information and even encourage the customer to reach out through the description of your offering. But in terms of a quote request and non-public pricing, that's a scenario that we're still trying to make sure we can simplify and make increasingly easy. And then I see a question from Alexander. Does the billing relationship with Microsoft remain if the partner enables the marketplace offer as resellable by CSPs? And this is a really good question. So this is a scenario where, and maybe just to provide a little bit of background on CSP and why this question is particularly astute. In a reseller scenario for Microsoft products and for products provided by Microsoft partners, the CSP, the cloud solution provider, the reseller, owns the billing relationship with the end customer. That is absolutely correct. And so that is slightly different than what I described. Ultimately, though, Microsoft owns the billing relationship with that reseller, and Microsoft is responsible for collecting from the reseller or from the end customer if it's direct. And so in this scenario, you as a Microsoft partner, you as an ISV, the solution provider, we will make sure that we're collecting the money from the person responsible for paying to Microsoft. And if it's being resold, that is the cloud solution provider partner. Alexander, you're exactly right. And in that scenario, the CSP partner is responsible for collecting from the end customer for themselves. And what we often see and really encourage in a CSP or in a reseller, a managed service provider type scenario, is that the cloud solution provider partner, or the partner in the CSP program, is providing services, maybe managed services, advisory, consulting, development, and that partner would then generally mark up the cost of the services that include the software that they're selling. We know that there's some kind of more traditional software resales where they're taking a margin or adding a margin. We do encourage very heavily that cloud solution providers provide additional services and then sell that as a managed service or a bundle of software and services. Moving on to the next slide, and I'll be kind of brief on this one. We'll make sure to share out the deck as we described earlier in the call. And this is a great one to go through and take a look at in a little bit more detail. Basically, we are seeing tremendous momentum and growth of offerings and products sold through Microsoft's commercial marketplace. As Kate mentioned a little bit earlier, we've been bringing together publishing experiences from Cloud Partner Portal, Seller Dashboard, OCP GTM, all of these are coming together or have come together into Partner Center in the publishing experience where you create offerings for the commercial marketplace. We're seeing tremendous growth in the number of offers, the number of partners participating as publishers, and maybe most importantly, the volume of sales and revenue generated by customers who are buying software through the commercial marketplace. One stat that I do want to call out, because we quite often hear sometimes incredulous questions about, are customers, are enterprises really buying through e-commerce commercial marketplace methods? And the answer is yes. We've seen research from Forrester and other analysts showing that not only is there demand today, but we expect it to grow very rapidly over the coming years. Just like consumers' purchasing preferences have shifted more and more to digital app stores, we see similar experiences and preferences shifting in larger organizations, whether they're small businesses all the way through enterprises and large governments. And the one stat that I did just want to kind of call out and highlight there is that we have actually seen multi-million-dollar deals in the $13 million range coming through our commercial marketplace. And so this truly is a method through which large organizations are buying software. I don't want to spend too much time on this one slide. We have different deployment methods, different product types that are supported in the commercial marketplace, and those that are transactable. Happy to follow up and go into more detail on those. The one last thing I do want to just really hit on here is that as you publish offerings and generate revenue and sales, you unlock benefits through the Marketplace Rewards program. You see kind of across the bottom that it starts with awareness of your listing or your trial offering. And then as you generate more sales, the benefits become more and more robust along the way. I do really want to call out that CoSell is a verb rather than a program in the context of this specific slide. So we start with generating awareness and demand generation, and then we'll co-sell together, lead development, and then full sales enablement really along the way. And Marketplace Rewards is a very exciting program. Happy to share more information on that. But in the interest of time, I really want to make sure to share a couple of resources here, and then I'm happy to hang out on IM or meet all of you in the partner community where we can continue the conversation about commercial marketplace and, of course, CoSell. Kate, as we're at the bottom of the hour, any last topics to hit on before we open it up to questions or continue the conversation in the partner community?
I was just going to say, if you go to the next slide, there's another resource slide that has a lot of that links out to places where you can learn more without having to wait for us to respond to your questions. But we are at time, and I will be on the community bridge as well to answer questions. But I encourage you guys to take a look at this deck once it's shared out. And thank you so much for attending. Keisha or Andra, anything else?
From our side, we want to thank you all for attending, and Brian and Kate for presenting. We still have 2 questions left, so as you said, I suppose you will address them afterwards. We will stop the recording and share this recording and the deck on the Microsoft Partner Community event post.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.